Renegades of Puck to the trenches. It's time for Renegades of Puck TV. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome to the essence of No Half Steppin'. I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier, and before we get started with the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, let me please direct you to renegadesofpuck.com. Once you are at our home website, you'll learn all of the information about the Renegades of Puck, and once you click on that merchandise link, you'll be able to get access to our classic logo t-shirt, our Pride logo t-shirt, and all of the other tremendous items that we have in our online store. Well over 50 gimmicks, including socks, throw pillows, bed sets, wall art. It doesn't matter. We've sold out so that you can buy in. Anything purchased through the Renegades of Puck online store, all profit goes directly to the Renegades of Puck. Social media is of critical importance, and I sure could use your assistance right there, Renegades. If you would, please go to YouTube and give us a subscription. We're doing a good job now. 129 subscribers, and we are continuing to grow. Plenty of room for more Renegades. Once you see Renegades of Puck TV links up on YouTube, please share those across your Facebook feeds. If Facebook is not your preferred platform on social media, then please use Twitter. We would appreciate if you would also give us a follow on Twitter at Renegades of Puck. You can also find the individual Renegades of Puck, all very interactive right there on that platform. We are available on Instagram, and we sure would love if you would give us a follow there. And just for a brief time longer, you can still find the audio podcast on SoundCloud, but we will be moving to a new and much bigger and larger platform coming very soon. So please make sure you are staying tuned for those details, as we should be able to release those within the coming days. Our behind the scenes live stream takes place on Twitch. It's not pretty, it's real broadcasting. I show you what it's like to set up the bunker, to practice for the show, to execute a recording and broadcast of Renegades of Puck TV, and to take you all the way through the breakdown of the studio. Very few people in the world can do what we're doing here on Renegades of Puck TV, and I want you to see the full truth behind the scenes. You can see it all over there on Twitch. Second takes, mistakes, F-bombs. Do I do these monologues all at one take? You should check it out over there on Twitch. It's the only place you're going to find the full, uninterrupted broadcast of Renegades of Puck TV. We sure could use your assistance one more time, Renegades of Puck, and that is to become a partner of the show. Please go to Venmo, search Renegades of Puck, or scan the QR code that's currently on your screen. Any donation helps, and we have received donations of just single dollars up to much more substantial, and we sure do appreciate it. They mean the same to us no matter how much the donation is, because it means a lot for Renegades to support Renegades. So please, if you can, and if you have a little bit of extra, send it our way. The summer of No Half Steppin' is very ambitious, and I have a lot of things that I would like to do here in the bunker to continue upgrades as we head towards the end of our first regular season, and we begin our first postseason of coverage here from the bunker on Renegades of Puck TV. Now, I know that you're here for the No Half Steppin' hockey coverage, so it is time that I deliver the goods. It is operation number 642 for the Renegades of Puck. That is right, show number 642 on this day in hockey history. The Nashville Preds currently find themselves, after 79 games played, with a record of 44-29-6. 94 points has them in fourth place in the Central Division. They are well out of the divisional races, 13 points behind St. Louis, 15 points behind Minnesota. But what matters most right now and for the final 3 games of the season is, of course, the wild card standings and the wild card race. That 94 points has the Nashville Preds in the number 1 position for the Western Conference wild card bracket. The Dallas Stars are in the number 2 position at 93 points. The Vegas Golden Knights are at 90 points, and the Vancouver Canucks are at 87 points. All 4 of these teams have 3 games remaining. Now, remember, Nashville and Dallas are currently in the NHL playoffs, while the cutoff line, Vegas, is 3 points behind Dallas and then 4 points behind Nashville, all with 3 games to go. Let me tell you who these teams are going to be playing. For the Predators, and we will get back to this in just a moment, they will be taking on Calgary on home ice on Tuesday night, Thursday at Colorado, Friday at Arizona. Dallas will be having 3 home games, and they will be hosting the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday. So something has got to break between the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights on Tuesday. Hopefully no 3-point game. Wednesday night, the Dallas Stars will be taking on Arizona. Friday night, they'll be taking on Anaheim. Now, Vegas has 3 road games to close out the season schedule. At Dallas, as we've just discussed, Wednesday at Chicago, Friday at St. Louis. So, for the Nashville Predators, the clinching scenario is as follows. Pick up 2 points against the Calgary Flames in their next game, and they have clinched a playoff spot. The Vegas Golden Knights lose their next game, and even without the Nashville Predators winning, the Predators will clinch a playoff spot. So Tuesday night is looking like the night when the Nashville Predators could conceivably clinch that playoff spot. You'll hear about it here in the bunker on Renegades of Puck TV. Now let's get back to the Nashville Predators, because they have to wrap up their regular season series against the Calgary Flames, but this could just be the beginnings of a best-of-7 series that could be upcoming between these two Western Conference teams. For the Nashville Predators, third and final time they're taking on the Calgary Flames. We've got to go all the way back to the 2nd of November when these two teams met for the first time in Calgary. It was a 3-2 overtime victory for the Nashville Predators. Saros with the victory, 38 out of 40. Duchesne picks up the overtime game-winning goal for the Nashville Predators. Fast forward all the way to the 19th of April, which was very recently in your memory, and the Nashville Predators won again 3-2, but this time was at Bridgestone Arena, and this time it was in the shootout. Saros gets the victory again, 19 out of 21. It was Duchesne and Forsberg with a goal each in that one, and Granlund picks up the game-winning shootout goal. So for the Nashville Predators, securing this number one wild card spot would mean a best-of-7 first-round playoff matchup against the Pacific Division winning Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames at this point are 49-20-10, 108 points, and they are first in the Pacific. On the road, they are 24-11-3, and they have a goal differential of plus 87. In their most recent stretch of games, the 16th of April, it was a 9-1 win versus Arizona. On the 18th, a 5-2 win at Chicago. On the 19th, a 3-2 shootout loss at Nashville. On the 21st, a 4-2 win versus the Dallas Stars, and most recently, a 6-3 win versus the Vancouver Canucks. Taking a look inside the matchup for these two teams and also the NHL rankings, when it comes to goals scored per game, the Calgary Flames are right up there near the tops of the league. They're 6th best in the NHL at 3.58 per game. The Nashville Predators are at 3.16 per game, which is 12th best in the NHL. Goals against, you'll find Calgary in virtually a top 5 metric in almost every category. Goals against, they are at 3rd, 2.48, while the Preds are at 15th, 2.99, and that number is up significantly in recent week. In shots for, 35.5 is 3rd best overall in the NHL for Calgary, while the Nashville Predators only generating 29.7 per game is 24th in shots against. Calgary, again, 4th best in the league, 28.9, while the Preds are 21st, giving up 32.1 shots per game. Here's the one metric where the Nashville Predators are ahead of the Calgary Flames, and it is in power play. 6th overall in the league, 24.5% on the conversion, and that's 60 out of 245 opportunities. Calgary Flames power play is 8th best in the NHL. They've converted 53 times on 225 opportunities. Now, the penalty kill for the Preds is 19th in the league, and it has been sinking as of late. The penalty kill for the Calgary Flames, 84% conversion, 5th best overall in the league. Now, the Nashville Predators have been able to secure 2 victories against the Calgary Flames this season, but the Calgary Flames are just a roaring hot team going into the playoffs. And for the Nashville Predators, they need points worse than the Flames do right now going into this game. It is a setup for a best-of-7 series, but look for both teams to play it very close to the vest. The last time these two teams met, it was very tight checking out there, but nothing got out of control. I would assume you may see a little bit more physical play in this game, as these two teams know they are almost certainly going to be playing each other in the first round. That is, as long as the Nashville Predators can continue to control their own destiny and handle their business over the course of these final 3 games. Now, we all know that each of these teams has high-skilled individuals. The Calgary Flames are just impressive in the statistics this year. Johnny Gaudreau at 39 goals and 72 assists has 111 points on the season. Not the only 100-point scorer on the Flames, though. Kachuk's now at 40 goals and 61 assists for 101 points. Lindholm, 40 goals, 40 assists for 80 points. Mangiapane, 35 and 20 for 55. Anderson, 4 goals and 44 assists for 48 points. And in net, Markstrom, 37, 15, and 8, a 922 save percentage, and a 2.21 goals against average. Looking at the Nashville Predators statistics individually, Roman Josi, the captain, 21 goals, 70 assists, 91 points on the season. Highly impressive stuff. We haven't seen numbers like this for a defenseman in 30 years in the NHL. Matt Duchene's at 41 goals now and 40 assists for 81 points. Philip Forsberg joins the 40-goal club, second Nashville Predator in history. 40 assists equals 80 points. Ryan Johansson at 24 goals and 36 assists for 60 total points. Mikhail Granlund's at 10 goals and 48 assists for 58 points. And UC Saros in net has fallen behind the league lead in overall victories, but 38 still has him in second. 38, 25, and 3 is his overall record, and 918 save percentage, a 2.63 goals against average. Looking for an impressive effort, UC Saros needs to get that tune-up He has played very good hockey against the Calgary Flames this season, especially in that first period of the season against the Flames in Calgary. He'll have to duplicate and maintain that, because if the Nashville Predators have any hopes of defeating the Calgary Flames, not just this Tuesday, but in a best-of-7 going forward, UC Saros is going to have to play dramatically better than he has for the last month of hockey. It's now time for the Rebirth Sports full game recap. Rebirth Sports, you can find their work at rebirthsports.com. Social media, I please ask you to interact with them. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they are not just jersey makers, they are hockey tailors. I tell you about this group all the time. Right here, you see me wearing the Renegades of Puck home jersey. You have seen me wearing the road jersey, the third jersey. You have seen the number of threads that I have sported from Rebirth Sports over the years, out there skating in league play all across Middle Tennessee, winning Stanley Kegs for the Mighty Drunks, also in the Wish Cup and other various charity tournaments across the United States, and even on Lake Nokomis for the United States Pond Hockey Championship. Wherever I go, wherever I skate, Rebirth Sports always draws the attention, draws the eyes, and I always get asked about them. That's why I love talking about Rebirth Sports so much. They're great people, they're great partners, and they make a great product. We sure do appreciate Rebirth Sports and everything they have done to stick in the trenches with the Renegades of Puck this entire season. Please, reach out to them. Give them some stick taps, give them some love, give them some respect. They'll make your organization look great, and they will take your visions and turn them into hockey reality. Now let's get into that Rebirth Sports full game recap. We go all the way back to April the 24th of the year 2022, and the Nashville Predators were closing out the regular season series against the Minnesota Wild. John Hines deploys his lines in the following way: Tobin and Johansson and Tomasino, Forsberg, Granlund and Duchesne, Trennan, Sissons and Jeannot, Cousins, McCarron, and Cunnin make up your four starting forward lines. Your defensive pairings are as follows: Josi and Favreau, Ekholm and Carey, Borowiecki and Benning, and big save Dave Riddick gets the start in net for the Nashville Predators. I was almost highly expecting some coaching malpractice, and I was expecting John Hines to try to run UC Saros out there again, so I'm glad that's not a conversation that we need to have. 1:04 into the first period, and it's Hartman hitting the post from close range at 3:15. We see Cunnin off the box. 2 minutes for holding. This happened in the offensive zone. The Preds PK, though, they don't give up a single shot against, and they are just strong overall for the 2 minutes. 6:44 of the first period. Riddick comes up with a save on Kaprizov off of the rush. At 7:15, Fleury comes up with a save on Carrier's spinning shot. This was the Nashville Predators' first good scoring opportunity of the game, and it came at 7:15 of the first. 7:38. Riddick comes up with a save on Hartman on the doorstep with a deflection. 9:48. Ekholm off to the box. 2 minutes for delay of game, putting the puck into the crowd. Bukestad is scoring his seventh goal of the season, giving the Minnesota Wild a 1-0 lead at this point. Borowiecki put the loose puck into his own net, reaching back to try to clear the rebound. Sometimes you're just not able to get the puck a safe lane out of danger, and Borowiecki puts the puck into the net. Minnesota leads 1-0 at Bridgestone Arena. A lot of Minnesota fans made the trip down for the weekend, seem to be enjoying themselves. 12:31 of the first period. Duhane was off the box, 2 minutes for interference. Minnesota's PK equally as strong as the Preds was earlier in the period, so we move on to 15:04 when big save Dave Riddick comes up with a save on Brodin. 16:58, big save Dave back to work again. Fiala's rebound jam has to be stopped this time. 17:27, a lengthy scrum after the whistle leads to 2 minutes for roughing against the Minnesota Wild. You'd see Dwar hit the post on a shorthanded 2-on-1, and then for the Nashville Predators, just before the end of the first period, 1958. They may have moved it back to 1957 on the review. No matter, it counted. Forsberg's 40th goal of the season. It was a rebound jam opportunity, and Philip Forsberg capitalizes, becoming the second Nashville Predator in history to score 40 goals, and finally fulfilling the prophecy that I have been predicting since the first time I saw Philip Forsberg skate, that he would someday be a 40-goal scorer for the Nashville Predators, and he is, in fact, now a 40-goal scorer. So good job by Philip Forsberg. Good job by the Nashville Predators to pick up a goal here at the end of the period. We're tied at 1 apiece going to the intermission. Minnesota out shooting Nashville 15-9. 2:49 into the second period on the clean sheet. Riddick comes up with a save on Camarosa. 3:47, Riddick back to work. 5:02, Riddick working again. This time it's Hartman causing problems. 6:38, Middleton crashes into Riddick. Minnesota puts the loose puck into the net. The Nashville Predators challenges for goaltender interference, but they determine that the goal stands, and they say say that Cunnin caused the contact that made Middleton sweep the leg of Riddick, causing him to be completely out of position. Now, because of the failed challenge and because of Riddick's displeasure after the play, cross-checking and clearing out his own crease, not only does the goal stand, but we see a 2-minute delay of game penalty on the for the failed challenge, and we see a 2-minute cross-checking penalty on Dave Riddick, leaving the Nashville Predators shorthanded 5-on-3 for 2 full minutes. The goal stands. It's 2-1, and the Preds are shorthanded 5-on-3 for 2 full minutes. Kaprizov hits the crossbar on the 5-on-3, and numerous shots are blocked by the Nashville Predators defenseman. It was sacrifice of the body all over the ice, and the Preds do an incredible job to get through this 2 minutes. At the end of the 5-on-3, though, I made this notation. In the second period, Minnesota's out shooting Nashville 14-0, and we've only played 8 minutes of the second period. 9:32 of the second. Fleury comes up with a save on Duchesne, tilting the ice at least temporarily back towards the Preds' direction. 10:06. Merrill is off the box. 2 minutes for interference, and Duchesne's got his 41st goal of the season. It was a rebound put back from a sharp angle, tying this game up at 2 apiece. So Matt Duchesne continues to do hard work around the net and reclaims the Nashville Predators' single-season franchise goal-scoring record, now at 41. 12:09 of the second period. Cunnin hits the post. 12:42. Delorier's off the box. 2 minutes for cross-checking. We see Johansson scores 24th goal of the season. You've heard this one a few times. A rebound put back during a mad scramble. Preds now with a 3-2 victory, 3-2 lead on home ice over the Minnesota Wild. Everybody wishes it was a 3-2 victory. 14:26 of the second period. Sissons, 2 minutes for high sticking. Riddick comes up with a save on Fiala, then comes up with a secondary save on Fiala, plus some jam, plus a scrum after the whistle. Kevin Fiala raising hell at Bridgestone Arena on this power play. 18:05 of the second period. Carries off the box. 2 minutes for high sticking. Eriksson Ek is scoring his 25th goal of the season. It was a perfect setup by Fiala to the back door and an easy cash-in. His second goal of the game. Now 25th of the season. This game is tied at 3 apiece. But then Kevin Fiala is going to strike quickly. 19:38 of the second period. His 33rd goal of the season is a backhander from the high slot after losing Granlund on a quick cutback. No other defender, no other forechecker there to help put a body on Fiala and prevent him from the scoring opportunity. The puck finds its way into the net fairly easily. Minnesota now leads 4-3 over the Nashville Predators as we head to the end of the second period. Minnesota has 37 shots on goal. The Preds only have 18. We flip over to the back of the sheet because this has been some high-event hockey. I don't think that I've gone ever and had a game that went 2 periods and was the entire front of the sheet. So we start the third period, and we are now on to the ice again. 3:20 into the third. Delorier is off to the box. 2 minutes for roughing on Benning. The Minnesota PK is very solid, and everything is kept to the outside. 6:22. Tolvanen's off to the box. 2 minutes for hooking. We see Riddick comes up with a couple of big saves right here, and Carey clears the rebound off of the goal line. This time the Nashville Predators are able to get that puck out of danger. 11:19 in the third period. Riddick comes up with a save on Fiala at close range. Forsberg in there with a stick check and some support. And at 14:20 of the third period, Dante Fabro's third goal of the season ties this game up at 4 apiece. It was a point shot that hit the D on the way in. That created a perfect deflection. Fleury never had a chance on this one. Fabro's third goal ties the game up at 4 apiece. We hit the end of regulation. The Preds pick up a critical single point with one more point to play for. And at the end of intermission, 45 shots on goal for Minnesota, and Nashville only has 23. We head to the overtime session. We are 1:19 into the OT, and Fleury comes over the save on Duchesne. The D clears the rebound off of the goal line. This puck was going to roll in. It was going slowly, but it would have had enough momentum to get over the goal line. We go all the way to 4:15 of the overtime period, and Fleury comes over with a stop on Duchesne's drive to the net. And then, unfortunately for the Nashville Predators, at 4:59, Kulikov's 7th goal of the season. It comes on a breakaway, and it is a buzzer beater for the Nashville Predators. The captain, Roman Josi, took off through the neutral zone, hoping to be sprung for a breakaway of his own, and it turns around and goes the other way, and Kulikov had no one to slow him down. He beats Big Save Dave and gives the Minnesota Wild the extra point in overtime. The Wild win this game 5-4, outshooting the Nashville Predators 47-25, and that wraps up the regular season series between the Nashville Predators and the Minnesota Wild. It really was a crazy high-event hockey game between between these two Central Division rivals and the Nashville Predators. Frankly, they needed to come out of this one better. I've seen some reports that say the players perhaps thought they played a good game, should have had a better result. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you'd stop taking so many preventable penalties and you would stop giving up power play goals, and maybe if you caught a break on a goaltender interference call that you should have, maybe the results are different. But to come out and say that you played good, I would hardly agree with that. Only 1 out of 4 possible points this weekend. The Nashville Predators had scenarios where they could have clinched, they could have had things wrapped up by now, but with 3 games to go, the Nashville Predators still have some work to do. And unless they start to turn things around dramatically very quickly, the first round series against the Calgary Flames is going to be over very quickly. And people in Nashville are not going to like the results very much. Big save Dave Riddick in this game, 42 out of 47. And I've got to tell you, the goalie interference call that the Nashville Predators did not get on the challenge, I disagree with that one. I felt that he was taken out and that goal should have been taken off the board. But overall, you've got to say it's just another tough night in net for a Nashville Predators netminder. And I know the big save Dave Riddick has come in and done his best this season. But overall, at the end of this season, this should be the last we see of big save Dave Riddick here in Nashville. His numbers are frankly not NHL caliber, and Connor Ingram is more than ready to be the Nashville Predators backup goaltender here in Nashville. Again, he has come in and he has tried, and he has certainly given his all for the Nashville Predators, but it's just not good enough. Nostradamus will tell me more about that right now. Coming up, you can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He is the one and only Nostradamus.
Thank you very much, Charlie. A wild night at Bridgestone Arena with the Preds falling in overtime at the last second, 5-4. Game-winning goal by Kulikov. Unfortunate for the Preds, but on a second of back-to-backs, you take a point in that situation, especially against a team like Minnesota, who's been absolutely out of their mind here as of late. 17-2-3 in their last 22 games. Both those regulation losses, by the way, against the Nashville Predators. The Preds do get a point, of course. Crucial point in the playoff race. Only 3 games to go. Gets the magic number down. Big save Dave with 42 big saves for the Nashville Predators to get the game into overtime and get the Preds a point. They were absolutely manhandled the first half of this game up until the allowed goal in the impending 5-on-3 that took place after that. The Preds, of course, were able to kill that off and got their legs under them and got some motivation going to come back and, of course, make a game of this because it looked very ugly early on. And 5-on-3 after a goal being allowed like that, you're fully expecting Minnesota to capitalize at least once on that 5-on-3 and potentially put the game away. But credit Nashville with being able to withstand that and get through the adversity, come back, and earn a point in this one. Of course, not much going on offensively for the Preds in the third period. Down by a goal, second of back-to-backs against a red-hot team, and you get a goal with under 6 minutes to play to get that point. Again, critical point for the Nashville Predators in the playoff race. Now, back to the goal that was allowed on 2 different occasions, first live and, of course, after replay. I don't understand it any more than the broadcast or anybody else did, except for maybe Toronto, I guess. I'm not sure how they figured out this was a goal. Clearly, Middleton goes feet first into Dave Riddick, not touched at all by anybody. Luke Cunningham was the closest guy to him. His stick came close to him, but he was already falling down feet first, like sliding into second base, into Dave Riddick. The ensuing scrum happens, the puck going in. The explanation was probably the most amusing, I guess, part of the whole situation is that the referee came on and said that the Minnesota player was pushed into Dave Riddick. Not sure what tape they were watching. Maybe they were watching Toronto versus Washington. I don't know. But this situation was absolutely appalling to watch, and the explanation even more so. How they figured out he was pushed in, or any contact whatsoever to make him get into Dave Riddick that led to the goal, I'll never know. I don't think anybody will ever know. Not surprisingly, by the way, the NHL PR Twitter page did not comment on this as they have in previous situations where a coach's challenge happens and they'll immediately put out the explanation. Next up for the Nashville Predators, of course, the Calgary Flames paying their second visit to Nashville in a week. Flames 9-1-1 in their last 11 games. One of those losses, of course, coming to Nashville last Tuesday in a shootout. Preds, of course, getting ever so closer to clinching a playoff berth. Just get points, guys. Any point matters. Get an overtime point against Calgary again. absolutely red-hot team. Find a way, get a point, get into the playoffs, and you never know what can happen. We saw what happened 5 years ago when the team barely squeaked in. All you can do is get in and take your chances. And in all likelihood, if they do get a point against Calgary, you're looking at your first-round playoff matchup against the Calgary Flames. So Nashville, find a way, get in, and we'll be talking more on Renegades of Puck for at least the next several weeks. Charlie, back to you.
You can find him on Twitter at GreekGoalie35. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. He's the starting goaltender of the Renegades of Puck, and if it happens between the pipes, it is well within Mostradamus' domain. Sure to appreciate Mosh bringing the passion, bringing the opinion, especially on that goalie interference call, non-call. I still disagree with the way that was called in the game. Strong Style Fitness, great partner here of the Renegades of Puck. You can find Strong Style Fitness by going to strongstylefit.com or on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. 150 workouts by a certified personal trainer, completely on-demand, donation-based, and ready to go. Renegades of Puck, it is time. Time to get off the couch, time to start stretching, time to get moving. The motivation is all there. Tracy over at Strong Style Fit isn't even asking for a penny of your money. I've seen the results, I've experienced the results, and I know that you will too. So please, check everything out from Strong Style Fit. They care so much about helping the Renegades of Puck that they've made 150 workouts completely free for you. So please, check that out today. Strong Style Fitness, incredible partners here too. The Renegades of Puck. Let's talk about Forsberg, Duchesne, and Granlund in this game. That first line went for 2 goals, 6 assists, and 8 points, 13 shots on goal total. That's more than half of the rest of the Nashville Predators. So, for the Nashville Predators, they have certainly got to find a way to diversify the offense, and they have got to get things moving in a positive direction again. Quarter of the points over the weekend is just simply not good enough. We've seen the Nashville Predators do this a couple of times recently in back-to-backs. This season should be wrapped up, and the Preds should already have qualified for a playoff spot, but they still have more work to go. Now, everything is not doom and gloom, for as bad as the score looked in Tampa and as tough as this one is to take with a buzzer beater, the Nashville Predators still control their own destiny and as of right now hold a 4-point lead over the Vegas Golden Knights with 3 games to go on the season. They could clinch as soon as Tuesday night with simply a victory over the Calgary Flames or a Vegas loss against the Dallas Stars. Sean C. Smith is here to bring you a little bit of hope because the Nashville Predators do control their own destiny, and this team wasn't even predicted to be in the playoffs. So for right now, we're just going to have to keep working on it.
Thanks, Charlie. Hey, Renegades, Sean C. Smith. Back again, still a little bit under the weather, so we're going to keep this short and sweet. And what we want to talk about today is we want to talk about penalties, and I'm going to tell you why. Penalties are absolutely burying this Predators team. And when I say that, that comes on the heels of a couple of situations that I think everybody would be a lot happier forgetting about tonight out there on the ice. But let's talk realistically. I love that word. Let's talk realistically at this point about all these penalties. Everybody talks about how when the playoffs roll around, penalties aren't as big of an issue because some of those ticky-tack calls go a little more unnoticed, if you will. And that way the Predators, they say, are going to get away with a few of those things. And maybe if that's just a part of their game and how they play during the regular season, then maybe when the playoffs roll around, they're really built well for the playoffs. But unfortunately, the types of penalties that they're getting, a lot of these aren't the kind that are going to get overlooked. These are undisciplined penalties. These aren't penalties that are just the result or the product of just physical play. This is just a lack of discipline. And so, you know, I get the idea of playing up to that line. We've talked before, back toward the beginning of the season, we actually talked about this a lot, to say that when you have a team whose whole identity is being physical and being aggressive, that means they have to play right up to that line without crossing over it. And of course, it's understandable. Matthias Ekholm said it really well after a game once. You know, we expect to have somewhere between 2 and 3 penalties that kill off per night. When you see that number creep up above there, that's when it becomes a much bigger deal, because then you're putting extra work on your penalty killers. You're also having to shuffle the lines up quite a bit more, getting things off cycle. And at the same time, anytime you want to roll that or spin that roulette wheel of, is this going to be a penalty? Can we kill this penalty off? There's a lot of factors to take into consideration. Number one, how strong is the power play of the team you're up against at the time? Well, in this case, the power play is pretty strong, and they had that on full display tonight. Another thing you have to figure out is how much confidence do I have in my team's power or penalty kill. And realistically, when you're starting to see some of your better penalty killers taking the penalties, you lose one critical element of that PK unit, and the whole PK unit suffers, because now you're pulling someone else into duty on the PK, and that's not their normal assignment. Beyond that, you're also overworking those other players. So when you spend a lot of time in the penalty box, not just is it one of those situations where, yeah, they're going to have an odd man advantage and they're going to have a good chance to score a goal, but the reality is you're also putting yourself into a situation down the road where your players are playing tired. And if the whole purpose of your identity is to wear the other team down, it's not going to be a very good thing if your team gets worn down because you've been skating a man down all night. And that's pretty much the bottom line here. So you're going to have to see this team kind of tighten up on some of these undisciplined penalties. John Hines says you can only control what you can control. Well, there are a lot of things out there that happened tonight that the Predators can control, and they're going to need to get it under control moving forward if they want to play the type of hockey they want to play in the playoffs. And I think once they make it there, and I do think they'll make it there, the magic number is down to 3 as of my recording this. It may be different at the end of the Vegas game. And if that's the case, then it's just that much closer. But I still believe the Predators are going to make it to the playoffs. I don't think they're going to have a problem getting to the playoffs. And I think as long as they can get the undisciplined penalties under control, I do think heads will look the other way for a lot of the other stuff that you see. And I think they'll make a big impact because they're built to wear other teams down in one game. And if they're built to wear teams down in one game, imagine how worn down the other team will be over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Charlie, I'm going to send it back over to you and remind you Preds fans to keep the faith.
You can find him on Twitter at SCSOTF. You can also check out his work at onforecheck.com. He's got the intel that you need, and I sure do appreciate Sean C. Smith jumping in the trenches here on Renegades of Puck TV. Let me tell you about Stripe Digital Solutions. Stripe Digital Solutions can be found at stripedigitalsolutions.com or Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. The logo on the wall right there, the crest on the jersey, renegadesofpuck.com. Our social media platforms, our brand building, all of that is done through the assistance of Stripe Digital Solutions. Believe me, you need the help. I needed the help. Anyone trying to run a small business in the year 2022 needs the help. There are so many small details and different platforms that you need to handle and you need to be taking care of, and you need to be doing it every day. So believe me, if you're out there creating the content, if you're out there doing the work, or whatever it is you are creating and building and looking to grow, if you're not taking care of the digital realm, you are not going to be reaching anyway. So please reach out to Stripe Digital Solutions. Great people, great partners, and those are the types of people I love doing business with. And of course, I'm going to recommend Stripe Digital Solutions to you each and every time. Please reach out to Brandy and find out how Brandy and Stripe Digital Solutions can help you and your business today. Believe me, she helps me out tremendously. Let's talk about the box score from this game. Matt Duchene and Philip Forsberg and Ryan Johansson are your goal scorers from the forwards. Dante Fabro picks up a goal, and it was a huge goal, the tying goal, and picked up the Nashville Predators a point in this game, and that was coming in this game. Your assists come from Kyle Granlund had 3, Philip Forsberg had 2, Matt Duchene had 1, Fabro and Yossi each with an assist, and then Matt Duchene led the team in shots on goal with 8 shots on goal. He's been flying as of late. As a matter of fact, he's been flying all season long. That's why he has 41 goals on the season. He's been playing revived hockey. That is absolutely for certain. When it comes to blocked shots, Kyle Granlund had 3, and that led the team in total hits. Tanner Jeannot with 8. That led the Nashville Predators. Matt Duchene did chip in with 5 hits in this game. You also saw Yakov Trenin get 5 hits in this game. When it came to time on ice, you saw the big names and the big forwards who were out there doing work. They all got plenty of minutes. Duchene at 21:43, Forsberg at 21:01, and Granlund led the forwards in time on ice at 22:10. You can see the time on ice definitely a factor for a lot of these other players, and their ineffectiveness being the reason their time on ice is so low. When it comes to time on ice total for the Nashville Predators, the captain led, as he usually does. Roman Josi skated 28-28 in total time on ice. And remember, this is coming on the second of back-to-backs over the weekend. Big Save Dave Riddick was 42 out of 47 in this game, and he comes away with the loss, the buzzer beater, against, unfortunately, Captain Roman Josi left his defensive zone, and there was no support for Big Save Dave there as the buzzer was about to end and send this game to a shootout. So again, for the Nashville Predators, it's not all doom and gloom, but there are things that need to improve over the next 3 games and need to start playing much better hockey the way they played over the first 60 games of the season or so. Before we head on out of here, let me kick it over to the Renegade Analytics desk. Brian Baston is in the trenches. He's got some numbers that you need to know and charts you need to see. Find us working on theforecheck.com and watch him right now on Renegades of Puck TV.
Thanks a lot, Charlie. Unfortunately, the Nashville Predators fell 5-4 to the Minnesota Wild in overtime here at Bridgestone Arena, bringing them to 94 points on the season with just 3 games remaining. Entering the night, Nashville just needed 4 points to clinch a playoff spot, and the clinching scenario entering the night was just get a win in regulation against the Wild and hope that the Vegas Golden Knights lose in regulation. Obviously, one of those things did not happen as Nashville fell in overtime. They did gain that extra standings point, but did not pick up the regulation win, so clinching is going to have to wait until Tuesday. As of the time of recording, San Jose currently trails the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1 in the second period, but no matter what happens in that game, it's not going to affect Nashville or get them to clinch any earlier than Tuesday. So scenarios for Tuesday. Right now, as we speak, the Nashville's magic number is reduced to 3, meaning they just need 3 points gained by them or lost by the Vegas Golden Knights in order to clinch a playoff spot for their 8th consecutive playoff berth. Tuesday, the Nashville Predators host the Calgary Flames, who they defeated last week, and will likely be their playoff opponent if they earn a playoff spot. The Vegas Golden Knights, on the other hand, have a much different task ahead of them as they're fighting not just for a wild card spot, but 3rd place in the Pacific as they battle against the Dallas Stars, the team that Nashville is currently trying to keep pace ahead of to keep that wild card spot where they're at now in the 1st position. Obviously, the Predators do want to avoid the Colorado Avalanche, but at the way that they're playing and the way that they're drawing penalties at this rate, it may not matter who they play, but everything Nashville does in the next 3 games is going to define what they do in the playoffs, and let's hope they can clean up the penalties, work on getting their some depth scoring to help guys like Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, and Roman Josi, and see if they can't get that game together and look like the team we saw earlier this season. Back to you, Charlie.
You can find him on Twitter at Brian Basson. You can check his work out on theforecheck.com. You can watch him right here on Renegades of Puck TV. I sure do appreciate Brian jumping in the trenches and updating us on all things related to the numbers. Listen, before we wrap this thing up, it's 3 games to go, and the Nashville Predators are in control of their own destiny. When this season started, the Preds were predicted to finish down in the standings somewhere around Chicago and Arizona. But I've got to tell you, since the Nashville Predators are 31 points ahead of where the Chicago Blackhawks are right now, and 43 points ahead of where the Arizona Coyotes are, I think the Nashville Predators had a better season than most pundits would have predicted. With 3 games to go, they can clinch and then have 2 games to get things tuned up, get everybody ready to go for the playoffs. Yes, securing that number 7 spot or the number 1 wild card spot is still very important to this Nashville Predators team, but getting into the playoffs is what most matters the most. We have seen an 8th seed go to a Stanley Cup final. We have seen a President's Trophy winning team lose on home ice in Game 7. Once you're in, you never know what's going to happen, and we most certainly don't. I think we'd feel a lot more comfortable, though, if the Nashville Predators were sticking to their identity and playing the game that they had played over the first 3 quarters of the season, as opposed to what they have been playing as of late, which is loose, sloppy, unidentifiable hockey. It's not fun for any of us to watch. It's certainly not fun to cover. For the Nashville Predators, though, they do have 3 games to work it out, get things straight, and get ready for the playoffs. Again, getting in is all that matters. From there, nobody ever knows what can happen. Maybe the Nashville Predators have something in them that none of us are expecting. That certainly would make things a whole lot more fun. Preds control their own destiny. 3 games to go. Renegades of Puck will be right here in the trenches, having it all covered and broken down. For Nostradamus, for Sean C. Smith, for Brian Baston, I'm your host and captain, Crazy Charlie Saunier. Stick taps, love, respect.